Welcome to Condo Kingdom's Insanity Unleashed, featuring lively discussions and sharing of ideas, facts, and varied stories as related to association ownership and living. Welcome to the President's Club, Insanity Unleashed, which will be a regular podcast that we're going to do from time to time to educate, stimulate, and make people's condo lives otherwise more fun than they already are, which they aren't. My name is Rich Parker. I'm president of the President's Club. With me is my guest, Dave Roque from USI Insurance. And I felt that doing a podcast about insurance would probably be a really good thing to do right now as we're going into the year 2026. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you
Pleasure
for
to be
being
here.
with us. Yeah, thanks for being here. So I have a list of questions that I wrote down about an hour ago. Well, that's what I do, last minute things. That hopefully you can answer.
Mhm.
It's a as a board president and as president of the club, and I speak to presidents and managers all day long. There's a lot of questions that we have for agents that we don't ordinarily ask
Mhm.
that I'm going to hit you with, and we can discuss them as it doesn't have to be a question and answer session. We'll just go through them and discuss them.
Yeah.
So the first question that I have for today is, and something that we all think about.
Mhm.
So we have a bunch of brokers hitting us all the time, trying to sell us, trying to make us do whatever they want, sign an agent of record or a broker of record,
Mhm.
so that they can go out and get the quotes.
Mhm.
Do all agents and or brokers get the same price for every association?
That's a really good question. The answer to that is short, no. Um, if you do absolutely nothing, then yeah, everybody gets the same quotes. But there's a number of different things that happen. So let's talk about how insurance is structured for a condominium association. I'll use property. That's the biggest line item for a lot of these condos. The way they're structured, you have usually sometimes single carriers. So many of those that have had condos for many, many years, they've had carriers like QBE and similar. You have one insurance carrier that's just insuring the whole entire tower from bottom to top. And then you have the layered program. Layered program is you have anywhere from 5 to 25 sometimes. We have some that are 30 insurance carriers. The way you design it, the way you build it, it could vary from broker to broker. So I like to call it artwork to keep it in the most simple phase. You design it in the most competitive way. Sometimes carriers may say, I want to be on the very first bottom layer and I'm willing to charge a competitive pricing. Others want to be all the way at the top with the least risk and they want to charge nothing. So how you do everything, it's really what gives you the most competitive pricing end result.
Do agents and or brokers have the ability, if they need to get something, to cut their commissions?
Repeat that?
So let's say I bring an agent in and
Mhm.
I want to be a pain in the ass.
Mhm.
And I tell them, well, how much you making on this?
Mhm.
Which I'm sure you hear about this.
A
What are
lot
you
of
making
times.
on this?
Mhm.
What's your cut?
Mhm.
And if you tell them probably an approximation of what
Mhm.
you're getting off the policy, and they're like, no, that's too much.
Mhm.
Take half of that, and we have a deal. And
Mhm.
they put their hand out.
Yep.
This is Miami.
Exactly. It's possible. It depends on the carrier. Nowadays, you have many carriers that tell you, we don't do that. We're not allowing cutting of commission. And the reason for that is they want to prevent exactly that from happening. And that's where we've seen in the last 5, 6 years where brokers are coming in 5 days before renewal and saying, here's your renewal. There's a number of reasons that that's happening. And part of that, excuse me, has to do with that because when you're within the last 10 days with many carriers, they won't accept a broker change. So some brokers try to hold that to the end. We try to.
Yeah, that's very common.
Mhm.
Very common. Waiting till the last second.
Mhm.
We had an agent or an agency couple of years ago that the last day before we had
Mhm.
to renew, they hit us with an increase of $2 million on a $1.4 million policy
Mhm.
because of a 50-year project that
Mhm.
wasn't completed. And if you would have been at our board meeting at that time,
Mhm.
it was Zoom because it was during COVID,
Mhm.
you would have seen everybody's like nobody could talk.
Mhm.
It was like an unbelievable thing. We were so shocked. Of course, that
Mhm.
broker got fired.
Mhm.
In the following year for doing that to us.
Yeah.
Um, I've heard of, and I know there exists a relationship
Mhm.
uh, between brokers and carriers
Mhm.
and or underwriters.
Mhm.
Everyone claims to have, special relationships
Mhm.
or special programs. Is any of this real, though?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. The old adage of I've known this person for 20 plus years, will that help you? Nowadays, maybe not, because I feel like we've transitioned to a point where it's not, I know the president of the insurance company, but we're in a world of data analytics. You have a building that the insurance carriers look at how much insurance they're willing to charge or how much they can charge, and then they look at the fact of what the risk is. So when they have AI doing that, now they start looking at different things. It's the relationship slowly goes out the window, but now they start looking at your relationship that you've built on different things: volume, coverage. One thing that's interesting,
Volume for you, the agent?
yes, volume that we do, because that's important.
So there's still a little good old boys club going on,
Uh,
maybe with, the relationships and
mhm.
lunches and whatever else. Everybody is familiar with each other, and
The
it's easier to deal with a broker that you do have some on a first name basis with than someone that just comes in.
The interesting part is a lot of it is what type of business you bring to that carrier. So, a good example, I'm going to bring up, let's say, Hollywood films, an insurance for Hollywood films. My personal specialty is condominium associations, real estate, so
Right, right,
hotels,
right.
condominiums, and similar. If I were to bring a risk to, let's say, an insurer that does Hollywood films,
Yeah.
they would look at, insurers look at one thing, and it is how do they capitalize, how what is the maximum that they can charge in order to insure that risk. Now if I bring them something of Hollywood, the first thing they're going to look at is how much volume does he have with us, and they're going to say, well, he doesn't really do this, so we're going to charge the maximum
In that industry.
in that industry.
Gotcha.
Now they look at someone that does condos, and if their specialty is condos, if all they do is condos, if their volume is strictly condos, they cannot be opportunistic, because that broker knows exactly what the rate should be,
Okay.
knows what others are charging, so they're kind of able to work around that.
I go, I'm always out there. So, I go to the condo expos. Everybody's always trying to tell me, how great they are. The insurance companies, it's filled with insurance brokers and
Mm-hmm.
agents. What separates a good elite broker
Mm-hmm.
from the schleppy ones that run up to me and try to read my name tag
Mm-hmm.
at a condo expo?
A lot of it is expertise. That's a great question. So we're in an industry, I say we insurance brokers, where there's a lot of new brokers fresh out of college. They're just getting into sales. They saw the Wolf of Wall Street and say, I want to do this. And then you have the brokers that have been doing this, that they specialize in it. You know who they are because they have a reputation, and they have experience. They've
Right.
written some of the worst, some of the best buildings. And I think that's really what differentiates it, is having the knowledge and being able to speak the language and not saying best price, best coverage, and then just give you a piece of paper.
Right, right. No, I've seen that happen. Um, I've been involved in this industry for 25 years. First as an investigator investigating corruption, corrupt condo boards, corrupt management, back in the early days. And then I tried to, with the President's Club, which was from 2011
Mhm.
and on. I've just tried to educate the industry, to help the industry instead of going after people in in a fashion that's sort of prosecuting them. And I've seen boards do a lot of really dumb things, a lot of really
Mhm.
stupid things, especially, um, with giving salesman brokers, these sales guys that can come in and talk up a storm, a broker of record or an agent of record, um, that at the end of the day, when they get this proposal, the night of the decision
Mhm.
to secure a policy, all hell breaks loose. Any stories you have about that? About stupid about stupid condo boards making stupid decisions that affect their association stupidly?
All
That's
the time.
basically it. It's insanity.
All the time. It's you have to. Um, some boards are familiar with the insurance placement, sometimes in their personal and their businesses, and then others have experience with condos, and others just don't have experience at all. They treat it like personal insurance. In the insurance world, to keep it as simple as possible, in our commercial insurance world, you get a broker to represent you, and the best way that I like to give an example of that is you don't have a case, you don't have a lawsuit and state, I'm going to hire 3 attorneys, just give me the best result, because your end result is going to be bad no matter what. Same thing in the insurance world. You want somebody that knows what they're talking about, that has a relationship with the carriers, can deliver exactly what you're looking for. When they give you the estimates, they will deliver.
Yeah.
But you don't want one that's just going to promise the world to you and then all of a sudden they can't do it. Now, when you're back in that 10 to 15 day window, you shot yourself in the foot. And I see that all the time where we have a conversation with, let's say, a prospect, and they say, I think we're going to stay with where we are. We're going to go with this broker. They call us 5 days before renewal, and they say, you were right. We need help right now.
Yeah, because they got a proposal that's out of whack. I can't tell you how many times. I mean, as a consultant, I'm sitting trying to help a building, or even as a board member, I was in management, so I did that too. Someone coming in and saying, "I got a friend in the insurance business. He wants to give you a quote on your association." I'm like, "What company is it? Does he do?" "Oh yeah, well he insures something up in Orlando." I had this happen to me really, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" He's like, "Look, I'm on the board. It's a friend of mine. Let him give you a proposal. Give him the agent. Let me sign over an agent of record." And I know managers. If there's any managers uh, tuning into this, it's so hard to deal with these novice board members coming in that have no experience, that have a friend. I got a friend. I got a friend that does construction. I have a friend that's an electrician. I have a locksmith. Whatever it is, everybody's always trying to bring in their friends.
I have a response to that, and it is, if you have an injury, you don't call a friend. You call whoever specializes in that. And I say that a lot. That's one of the things that when I talk to boards, I say, if you have a broken knee, you go to someone that specializes in that surgery. You don't go to your general practitioner, because the first thing, a general practitioner, when they are dealing with your life, they're going to recommend you to a specialist. But in insurance, someone that, let's say, insures Hollywood Studios may say, yeah, I could do a condo in Florida. And then they may not have the contracts, they may not get the best result, and then you're left with a botched surgery.
No, that's actually, I use a different example when I go in as a consultant, and I tell them, okay, you want to bring in whatever, you want to find another agent, you want to find another construction, whatever it is. I said, what would you do if you went into the grocery store? You went up to the deli counter and you said, "Oh, can I have a pound?" And the person behind the counter says, "Of what? Of what exactly?" And it's a very similar type thing where you want something. Let's say it's insurance or whatever else it is, and you're just saying, "I want a pound," but it's so more detailed than that. And all this is throughout the condo industry. This is a lot of stuff that you get. And I'm not going to, I usually say Mrs. Susie Homemaker, or someone that never worked a job that becomes president of a condo, but it could be anybody. It could be a guy that worked in Sears, or a guy that was in the military that only made it to a certain level and had a little group that he was in charge of, and he understands how systems work, but he doesn't understand how the condo industry works as a whole. And I keep seeing that over and over again. And as a consultant in the industry, and head of the President's Club, where I get a lot of questions, there's so much ignorance, so much stupidity that but it's a daily thing till it gets on my nerves. I mean, it really gets on my nerves, where everybody's calling me up, even when they're looking for a manager. Oh, I need a manager right away. Can you recommend somebody? Well, what are you looking for? What type? You want someone with a lot of experience, sometimes when you get someone with a lot of experience, they're they've already have like deals. They're jaded. They've been in the business. They know who their vendors are. Someone that's right out of CAM school, which that I generally prefer, that has some kind of business degree that can understand business, look at a budget, and understand how accounting works. And I find those to be good managers too. Anybody can be a good manager if they set their mind to it. But in the industry such as yours, I find that the relationships that you guys have with underwriters, if you're in the business a long time, I find, so it doesn't pertain to insurance, that really, really helps.
Yep.
These underwriters, these companies that are coming in and writing in Florida. So is that, again, that relationship, because I think it's one of the most important aspects. How important is that to you?
It's valuable. Well, to me, it's my business. I treasure those relationships.
Right.
But at the same time, we have some clients that they don't understand how the industry works. And when we speak with them and we let them know, this is what the broker does. This is how you get bids, depending on their experience and their desire to be involved. Sometimes we'll take the extra step and we'll say, we can have one of the VPs, one of the representatives of the insurance company, have a discussion with you.
Right.
Because I like to say the visual aspect of it is different than being a piece of paper. So I personally believe in, like, let's say drone footage, visual inspections, photos, send it to the underwriter. But then at the same time,
you guys do that.
We do that.
Okay.
And then take it a step further where you have board members that want to be more involved. Sometimes we'll bring insurers to the board members. And I can tell you it's different when they're doing business directly than they are looking at it as a piece of paper.
So let's say you did that. How do you feel, because you've been in the business a while, so how do you feel how do you feel as far as what an insurer that comes in to meet with them, what does the client think that they could bring to their, that they're looking for, the client? And what is the insurer saying to themselves when they come in and they meet with this group with the potential to insure an association?
So first and foremost, that's the reason you have a broker, is to be able to have the discussion between both. Because our relationship as a broker, we represent the insured, but we have the relationships with many, many clients with the insurers. So we have a conversation with the board and say, for our discussion when we're meeting with the underwriter, the wholesaler, whoever that individual is, this is how that meeting should go. This is what we expect. This is what you want to talk about, what you don't want to talk about. A lot of the times I tell my clients, when I'm putting you in front of an underwriter, don't talk price. That's for me to have. And I'm going to be there to represent you and get you the best deal. I want to do that for you. But this is a relationship discussion. And on the insurer side, it's the same thing. They don't want to be in a situation where they get badgered right then and there. Give me a better price. Give me better coverage. Rather, they want to meet the client. They want to go there and create that relationship. I've had clients that they've been with the same carrier for over 10 years. They've been with some carriers that have started to exit the state.
Like a QBE, which is a good insurer.
Right, like a QBE. You have others like, let's say, Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway, they're rarely on condos right now. But I can tell you they're still on some because they have that relationship and they hold it tightly to them. So they know when they see it come across them, they don't say, okay, this is ABC condo. Rather, they say, this is Rich Parker from this condo. And that's what they like to do. That's interesting.
I get approached by agents all the time. I get approached by a lot of people all the time. The hardest people that hit me are agents looking for business, insurance agents.
Yep.
I was at a restaurant, I think this is about a year ago, and I'm eating with a friend of mine or whatever, and all of a sudden I ask for the check. And they go, oh, your check's been taken care of. And there was an agent on the other side, and he goes like this to me. Like he bought me which actually very much insulted me.
Mhm.
It really bothered me that they did that. I didn't like it. I felt like I'm able to afford my own lunch and I don't
Mhm.
need any agent buying me stuff. But this guy was someone that I had spoken to in the past that was trying to do a proposal,
Mhm.
and he's like, "I own the insurance company.
Mhm.
I own this stuff,"
Mhm.
and it was so obnoxious
Mhm.
and it was such a huge turnoff that I was hoping to go back to the restaurant and pay his bill so I could. But what do you say when an agent comes in with this cocky attitude? I own
Mhm.
this stuff. Like that.
Mhm. It's we come across that. I know one of our competitors that they constantly say, "We own this insurance company. We own this insurance brokerage firm. We own this MGA." MGA's they have what's called program business for condominium associations, for example. This is an industry that you really have to be personable. I don't believe in that being overly cocky with a condo board. But at the same time, when you're saying all of that, a board has to start to think. If they're saying I own the insurance company, I own all of that. So now you don't only care about your profits, but you care about the insurer's profits. That's more of, are you going to get the best deal when they're trying to, and we've seen that where some of our competitors, no names, would go in and say, well, we found a way to get it to 0% commission, but they own the insurance company. So the profits have to go somewhere.
Yeah. Well, everybody's in business to make money,
Mm-hmm.
so I never trust or believe anybody that says otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
That's it for my questions. Unless you
Mm-hmm.
have any more dumb things that boards do, which probably I could fill this whole legal pad with it. And the frustrating, attitudes that people have, not
Mm-hmm.
just towards insurance but other industries. Do you have anything you want to add to this, or?
I could think of a whole lot of things. We'll be here for hours. I think one that's interesting that I want to add is a lot of people don't look at claims. They just think they go straight for the numbers. They go straight for, let's say, give me the best coverage without defining what that
You
means.
mean the client?
The client.
Right.
They'll say, give me the best coverage, give me the best pricing, but they don't know what it means. I like to take an analytical approach, but also try to find a way to prevent losses from happening because the insurance carriers look for the most profit. They're working with an educated broker. They still have to substantiate to their bosses why they are charging that premium. If it's too low, how does it make sense? If you have
Well, that has to do with the loss runs and the claims that you've had in the past.
Now the question is, on those loss runs, what are you doing about it? And what is a broker doing
You,
about it?
you mean to give the association advice to mitigate
Mm-hmm.
these issues so they don't happen again, like flood
Mm-hmm.
detectors or whatever you might want to put in a building?
That's exactly what I mean. At the same time, I believe if there's a loss, there should be an adjuster there. When you call the broker, they need to physically be there or the adjuster needs to be there within 24 to 48 hours. If you get rid of that aspect, you have losses that are going to grow and grow and grow. And a loss that should have been 300,000 may become 500,000. And the big issue is associations are looking to remediate. They're looking to mitigate. They're not looking to collect as much money as possible because if the loss is 300, they want 300. If the loss is 600, they want 600. If you make the loss go from 300 to 600, the insurance company's paying more, your insurance is going up, you're getting non-renewed, and now you're in a situation of all of the members are disappointed.
Right. I
So
understand.
being able to have that team, surround yourself with the right team, that is, I think, one of the most vital aspects.
I'm also a proponent of, associations adding insurance, not that it's a required item, but
Mm-hmm.
as a reserve item
Mm-hmm.
to mitigate the possibility of huge increases like our association did, where it went from, I think it was 1.4 million to 3.6 million, which is
Mm-hmm.
unheard of.
Yep.
The insurance, that was also caused by past boards inaction and
Mm-hmm.
waiting on things and never doing things, that had to be done. And that's why it's so important when a new board comes in, to take account as to what's going on in the building, what's
Mm-hmm.
happened in the building over the history, so you could start preparing for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you're a concerned homeowner and you get on the board, how do you mitigate that for the future if you're not on the board anymore? What are you going to do? Do you make it into a reserve item so that in the future, at least it's there, so that when you get a surprise assessment for an insurance assessment, if we get hit by 3 hurricanes in a season, which could happen. It didn't happen this year, which was thank God,
Mm-hmm.
but it could happen. So that's something that I always recommend.
Yeah.
And other than that, I think we're good to go. Thanks for your time. I
Thank you for
appreciate you
having me.
being here. It was a pleasure. And hopefully
you,
I'll have
Rich.
you back again if you have some good stories.
Mhm.